BLUELOCK Chapter 331 leaks have just released. France takes the early lead as we restart the game and pick right back up. Japan starts their counterattack with HUGO and Isagi getting their first matchup of the game in one of the most hyped 1v1s. And for y'all wondering, we're trying a new thing on this channel where I cover the leaks in a video just so that you guys get the information as quick as possible. I'll still be doing a video on the officials every Tuesday that will be higher quality pictures in English and with my usual editing, but this is for the people who just want the chapter right away with my commentary. Especially because we've been getting the chapter leaks way before the official chapter drops. At the time of this recording, it would be 4 to 5 days until I release that video, so y'all don't have to wait anymore to see what happens. Last thing really quickly is that the panels will have an overlay to avoid copyright, and some of the panels are unfinished due to a tight schedule. But with that out of the way, let's jump into it quick. The chapter picks up right where we left off, with the France fans getting hype and the commentators telling us, goal, what a quick attack, what a first touch play. The second to third page is a double spread of Charles's goal celebration where he hops on HUGO's shoulders, who nonchalantly carries him. And this all but confirms every new Gen 11 is just nonchalant. There is zero happiness in their lives. He can't even celebrate. Loki is there too, just pointing at the crowd as the commentators continue that Charles Chevalier broke through Japan's defense and scored the first goal. Which I'll be honest, nobody expected him to score the first goal, so that was very hype. We then see BLUELOCK's reaction with Aiku saying that France is cruel and that he got carried away, with Nico saying that pattern wasn't in their data. Karasu chimes in too, talking about France's speed, power, and shooting accuracy, with the next page being an analysis that the goal wasn't anything you could just reproduce, saying that he really is the #1 of the new generation, Julian Loki. Which got me a little confused because ain't Charles the one that scored the goal? Loki didn't even touch the ball? This is the same timing as Kuso glazing Isagi when Bachira scored, but I guess he was a big enough threat where they had to deploy the whole defensive line on him, giving Charles the free goal. Anyways, someone claps to get everyone's attention, and it's none other than Mikage Ryo, who tells everyone to calm down. He continues that there were just parts they couldn't cope with, like that surprise experimental attack, and that France is aiming to collapse their mental state, so they need to cool down their brains and think calmly. Which is a huge W coming from Ryo, considering his time throughout BLUELOCK was just him going through it, so you just love to see that development. Aiku fist bumps him and says a nice psychological management, poking fun at Ryo, calling him the Mikage mental department head, and Bachira jumps into saying thank you for the medicine for the heart. Gagamaru's in the corner saying thanks as well. The next page shows Isagi holding the ball, agreeing with Ryo. The match just begun, and that in BLUELOCK, even a single point can change everything, so they just need to concentrate. I'm getting a feeling of deja vu from when Onazi said everything is fine because I'm here, and then their score ended up being a fat 0. But all the BLUELOCK boys agree, with Hiyori saying okay egoist, Chigiri agreeing too, Bachira saying it's a battlefield of instinct, and Isagi's inner monologuing saying don't rush BLUELOCK. The game immediately restarts though, and Isagi says the best way to win is to keep moving forward, as the commentator asks if Japan can counter with a passing play between Isagi and Rin. Loki starts gunning for it too, and they actually end up passing around him, with the commentator saying that they broke through the center. Out of nowhere though, Charles appears yet again, saying that he saw that in the first match of Nigeria, where they built up the attack with 2 people and made a formation where you can't tell who's going to score. Okay, Charles, he did his homework, I see you, because this is exactly what took Nigeria off guard. They thought Isagi was gonna score, and then Bachira ended up scoring, or Ryo or Rin. It happened multiple times. So with Charles quickly on Rin, the next page shows us Bats, the France defensive midfielder, get on him too, and now Rin has a goblin on him and Bruce Wayne. Charles calls out for a pincer, but Rin, calm, cool, and collected, just passes to his side, saying that way of thinking gets in the way, which takes Charles off guard, saying that it's a pass to the right side. Next page shows Chigiri Hyoma getting the ball with a bottom generation 11 Chappa on him. This guy was such a disappointment in the PXG game, so you know he ain't defending Chigiri. Chigiri calls out that this is a quick attack too, and as we all expected, Chigiri gets the cross off because Chappa is straight garbage. Ryo says nice tempo as the next page shows him with 3 players on him, and Ryo trying to jump up to get the ball first. Another PXG player is here calling to block his shot, and France's center back Hermes says as expected, but Ryo starts to initiate copy. I'm always so hyped seeing Ryo use copy. With him midair, we're left wondering if it's Ryu or someone else, as it shows a Kunigami Rensuke copy headering the ball away. Oh my god. Ryo copied Kunigami in the PXG game specifically, which is kind of funny, and now he dragged away 3 players while getting the ball away. Kunigami making an appearance in an unexpected way too. Literally, a copy of him got more screen time than the actual character so far, but let's not talk about that. The other France player is surprised that he didn't shoot and that it's a post play, with the ball heading to none other than Isagi Yoichi, who says a nice chameleon. But that's when Hugo appears out of nowhere, jump scaring Isagi right next to him and saying, "You are a good team, BLUELOCK, however, Isagi Yoichi." And just look at his face, man. This got me sweating bullets because how they make him look so intimidating. We now start the Isagi and Hugo 1v1 as the next page shows Hugo giving a full breakdown on the 2-gun volley, saying that when Isagi shoots while turning in a face-to-face, he uses his left leg as a feint, making the course of the shot impossible to predict. However, if you crash in before the feint, you can annihilate the shot. Your weapon can be crushed with logic. And the look on Isagi's face compared to Hugo's face is all you need to know too, bruh. He somehow analyzed and figured out Isagi's whole flow. Isagi comments how Hugo was able to predict his movements perfectly, and Hugo says, yeah, if we neutralize the shooting angle before the feint, the 2-gun volley becomes useless. Rin and Karasu both call out for Isagi to pass to them, and the next page shows Isagi excited for help. But then Rin and Karasu both get pressed, which was all according to Hugo's plan. He says if they shut down the forward outlet, Isagi won't have anywhere to pass, and if they crush Isagi, it will cause a chain reaction. BLUELOCK will die. Will die? Are we hearing this correctly? Because this goes beyond football at this point, man. Hugo is shaping up to be the Thanos of the football world. He's literally all up in his ear and everything too. Isagi fights back though by saying, "Shut up, you logic freak." He made it this far by devouring people like Hugo, who always try to stand above others, saying, "Let's do it," by breaking number 1, even cracking a smile. But Hugo in a black text box just says, even though his aptitude is only number 2, which Isagi responds with, huh? And the last page shows Hugo has stolen the ball away from Isagi. Nah, ref, someone stop, bro, please. Send in Sendo to snipe him. Because as he steals it away, he asks Isagi if he believes in fate. And as Isagi looks panicked, the chapter ends off there. What an amazing chapter and continuation of the France game. And now that we've gone through the leaks and translations, let's start discussing about it because there is so much that happened in this chapter. The main thing being Hugo, because he analyzed everything about Isagi, dropped some cryptic messages, and managed to get the ball back in France's possession in a very short amount of time. Firstly, we already knew this, but it really confirms that Hugo is a very logical player, but also someone that can back it up with his skills. He managed to crush Isagi while he was in Metavision, if you look at the panels, by cutting off his predicted paths, which in my theory, I literally called this out, saying that Hugo is a reactive player who can crush a proactive player's way of thinking. Basically, Isagi always tries to follow a plan with Metavision, like how he was gonna go for the 2-gun volley, but Hugo reacted in a way to prevent that, which caught him off guard, leading to Hugo getting the ball. He also gave some important dialogue towards the end, saying that Isagi's aptitude is only number 2, which I interpret as he thinks Isagi's thinking is only the second best, with his being the best. In other words, Hugo thinks his thinking or way of thinking is superior to Isagi's. The ending dialogue, he also asked Isagi if he believed in fate, which I think is the most interesting thing about this chapter. This was obviously the cliffhanger for the next chapter, especially considering considering the title, which we'll talk about in a second, but fate could be connected to what Ego and Isagi were talking about before the France game specifically, the god of football. Remember that Ego was talking about how everything goes your way, that was the god of football. That might be correlating exactly to what Hugo is talking about fate, because honestly, the god of football is sort of fate, and now it could go in two different ways. Either Hugo believes in it, believes in fate, believes in the god of football, or Hugo doesn't believe in it, which honestly, I'm willing to place my bet that he doesn't believe in fate. My theory is that because Hugo is a very logical, analytical player, he wouldn't believe in something like fate, which even Isagi said is kind of illogical. So maybe the difference between Isagi and Hugo is that because Isagi believes in the god of football because of Ego, and Hugo doesn't, that's why he thinks Isagi is only number 2, because he believes in something illogical. This is backed up because Isagi literally said he will reach that place and meet the god of football for Ego, so now it's gonna be a clash between the two players, someone who believes in the god of football and someone who doesn't believe in the god of football. The next chapter title, 332, is called Theory of Aptitude, and I think this will really give us Hugo's backstory or why he doesn't believe in fate, either that or just his philosophy on football. All we know though is that it's gonna be a Hugo yapping chapter, and with him having possession of the ball, maybe even a goal at the end of it, making France take a very early lead of 2-0. Another thing I need to point out is we haven't even seen Loki get that much screen time or even touch the ball once. So once he does, oh boy, we are gonna be more cooked than we already are, because Hugo is already a problem by himself. Charles is there too, and he just scored on us. Throw in Loki into the mix, there was just gonna be non-stop problems and obstacles for BLUELOCK and Isagi. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the chapter leaks. Again, this was more of a video for you guys to immediately get informed on the chapter because it's gonna be a while till we get the official one. But don't worry, I'll still be releasing my video on the official chapter with the better art, English translations, and my usual editing style on the same day per usual. I just wanted to get this out because it's gonna be a lot of days till we actually get the official chapter. So I'll be experimenting though and seeing what format works best. Regardless, y'all are still gonna get the content every single time, so don't worry about that. I'm also treating these leak vids as more of a discussion video, so leave any thoughts you have down below on the chapter, any theories on it, or the next chapter, predictions for this game too. If you made it to the end though, thank you so much for watching as always. YouTube really thinks you like this video right here, so be sure to check that one out too, and I'll see y'all in the next one.